Don't look now, but the November midterm elections are approaching. Election day just 8 months from tomorrow, or if you want to do it in days, 245 days away. Democrats are thinking, hey, we're lucky they're not voting sooner than that, because right now all signs point to a pretty bad November for the president's party. At least that's the vibe, Andrew.
And Rich, that's not to be unexpected. The president's party traditionally loses seats in a midterm election, 29 on average in a second midterm, like the one coming this year. And right now, the University of Virginia's Center for Politics, they're one of the heavyweights in the election forecasting business, is predicting a slightly better November for Democrats, but still nowhere close to winning back the majority at 229 seats for the Republicans. And even if you separate all the close races that UVA calls leaning from the other solid or likely ones, Republicans still have 216 seats, so they're just 2 seats shy away of guaranteeing a majority. So you'd think the House seems out of reach for Democrats, but there are also big worries for Democrats in the Senate as well. With only 3 seats that are listed as toss-ups, the estimate gives the GOP 49 seats in the U.S. Senate. If they win 2 of those 3 toss-ups, they win control. Democrats need to win 2 of the 3 toss-ups to keep control. Thanks to Joe Biden breaking ties, they only need 50 seats in the Senate to have a majority. The GOP needs 51. Here's the other big problem for Democrats. Those toss-up seats, those 3, they're in Louisiana, North Carolina, and Alaska. They're all Democratic seats right now in states that Mitt Romney won in 2012 and where President Obama remains deeply unpopular. Rich?
Okay, let's do it this way. I'll ask Jeannie, you and the Congressman to play the role of the Republicans here. I know it's a stretch for you, Congressman. And Dom and Andrew, you guys take the Democratic side. Realistic goals here for November, if you're Republicans, for the House and the Senate here. Where do they put the numbers, you think?
I think that, I think the Republicans will probably be around, 220, 225, I think is probably where they'll be. It depends, I think, a lot on what happens in the next few months with some of these primaries, but that's what I would predict.
And the Senate, do they realistically think they're going to take it?
I think they have a shot. I mean, you look at those 3 states that Andrew just talked about. I mean, Alaska, Louisiana, those states are states that really could go Republican. I mean, it's going to depend on how unpopular the president is. He's below 35% in all 3 of those states right now. And when you're below 35%, now Louisiana, just as an example, Mary Landrieu, she seems to come through every time. So I wouldn't count her out by any means.
And she's separating herself from the president.
And she's separating herself from the president. But you look at every election, she comes through, so she knows how to win there. So I wouldn't say it's a certainty, but they have a shot probably.
How about Congressman, for Republicans, do they focus on the Senate and focus resources on the Senate here because they're so sure they're going to keep the House?
The House is going to do their thing, the Senate's going to do their thing, they're not going to talk to each other, and then the Republican National Committee is going to do its thing. And in 1996, I realize
sounds like herding cats.
It's a long time ago, but 98 was the 6th term of Bill Clinton. We should have won big. We lost 6 seats, 5 or 6 seats. That's why Newt had to resign, because we actually, Newt Gingrich, the speaker, because we actually lost seats. So, if Republicans do the kind of stupid stuff that you see in Arizona, even though it was Arizona, with the gay law, you're going to see the Democrats being able to say, focus it not on the attention of Barack Obama and what they're doing, because I think they are failing. It'll be about stupid Republicans, Republicans acting stupidly.
Democrats.
Boy, oh boy. The Republicans, I've said this, I'll keep saying it, they have been quite effective, no offense, Congressman, at demonizing this president. And he's fell into the trap. So as a result, the Democrats have no choice, for lack of a better words, than to put this president on ice. He needs to stay in the White House and let Bill Clinton travel the country doing the speaking on behalf of the Democrats. At this point, the question is not gains, how much can you keep of what you already have? Democrats are in trouble.
Well, Andrew, to that end, the messaging, we know what it's going to be from the Republicans. It's the economy and healthcare. To the point, we've seen in different states metrics that say Obamacare is becoming more effective and more popular. Do the Democrats say, screw it, we might as well take a chance on it and try and double down on Obamacare and hope in November it turns around? Do they run away from it like the plague?
I don't think they're going to run on it, certainly. It's still sort of a demonized word. They might be able to incorporate it into a larger argument about the safety net and about inequality in the country, which seems to be one of the leading arguments that they have going forward, and that Republicans want to turn back the clock on Medicaid and Medicare and Social Security and food stamps and even your health care, and fold it into that larger argument. But running it on its own is still a loser, just because it's still stigmatized to that as badly as it is.
And we know, Congressman, that they already have said, apparently in strategy sessions, that they're going to try and put a freeze on meaningful legislation between now and the end of the year, Republicans. What will their messaging be if they can keep on a consistent message between now and November?
Yeah, well, let me just also say, and we know Nancy Pelosi doesn't want any grand deal because she'd like to gain the majority. So you have both parties that basically don't want to get things done where there's a compromise involved. That's sad. But the bottom line is we do have an economy that's not growing the way it used to grow, and it needs to grow. There are going to be things that keep coming up about the president's health care plan, which he himself calls Obamacare, that are going to be incredibly costly. There are winners in Obamacare and there are losers. The winners he already has. The losers he had, and he may lose some of them.
But the economy can also be a winning argument for Democrats, too. If they're able to make the obstructionist charge that the economy would have been better, but we've been getting dragged down at each turn and
It's a tough
stopped.
argument to make, even if it's true.
It is, but that's also been, there's been a drumbeat of that over the last 6
Gina,
years.
give me a nightmare scenario for Republicans, and then I'll ask the same of you of Democrats. A nightmare scenario where they're like, oh my God, if we're talking about this in November, we're screwed.
Nightmare scenario is if Obamacare enrolls 7 million people. If they reach their number, that is a nightmare. Republicans have put all their eggs in the Obamacare basket. That's all they want to talk about. That's all they're going to talk about it. They reach that enrollment number, and Democrats are able successfully to make the case it's not the best plan in the world, but it's better than what Republicans have offered, and it's better than going back and giving the insurance company power. That's something that Democrats have said they're going to embrace it in that way.
I disagree respectfully. I don't think Republicans are concerned that a lot of people will enroll. I think they want to point out all the people that are going to get hurt. And the people that are going to enroll are who? Who are they, basically? They're folks that don't make a lot of money. They're not the ones who are paying the bill.
But the people, if 7 million people enroll, Obama has gotten what he said he was going to get, and it's a successful policy and a successful program. That's a problem for Republicans. They have nothing else to run on. The only other thing they have to run on are things like the Arizona law, because it's going to be a fight over getting people out to vote.
And that is,
and they're going to be trying to get their
the other
their
nightmare,
base
I
out.
assume, is if Republicans eat their own in a few of these contested primaries,
that will happen.
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden a Democrat can skate through and they should have lost. Give me the Democrats' worst scenario for November.
In my opinion, worst case scenario is just one more thing goes wrong with Obamacare. If one of we know the enrollment numbers on the rise, but if one other item, and who knows who can forecast what it is, if one other thing goes wrong, that's a nightmare situation. The Democrats have got to find a way to get Republicans to do what they do naturally. I mean, what they've shown naturally, and that is talk. And tell us how they really
Give it
feel,
enough rope.
and that's when they get in trouble. Republicans.
I throw foreign policy in there too. I mean, if Ukraine continues to deteriorate, if there's bad news on the foreign policy front, it's bad for the White House, bad for Democrats. If there's a victory, if somehow peace comes to Iran or a deal with Iran or peace to Syria, that's a positive for the White House.
I got to stop saying the Ukraine.
If the
yes.
president handles Ukraine properly,
It might help.
and he needs to, and we all should hope, his status will come up.
All right, when we come back, we will, as they say, all politics are local. Some local issues I want to get the takes on from the table. Be right back with that.